Hey, Fountain Valley, I'm Councilmember Grandis, and I'm going to be putting out a message after every council meeting and before the next one to go over what happened at the last council meeting and what to expect at the next council meeting. So, first, let's talk about what happened at the last city council meeting. First, we had a study session on attracting and retaining quality staff. This was presented by our Fountain Valley engagement team. They came up with some ideas on an employee appreciation program that we'll be looking at a little bit closer going forward, and then also gave the results of the 410 work schedule. We've been having a trial on this for the last 6 months, and we've had a survey that's gone out. And the good news is that over 70% of the residents and vendors who took the survey, they approved of the new work schedule, and 100% of the employees approved of the new work schedule. So the majority of City Council has decided to move forward with the new 410 schedule. What's good about that is that we're going to have expanded hours Monday through Thursday until 6 p.m. And then every Friday we will be closed going forward. Next, we had a public hearing regarding our housing element. So back in December of 2023, the City Council unanimously approved our general plan, which also included an updated housing element. As part of that, we have to rezone 3 properties that had not been zoned yet in order to be in compliance with the state mandate that says we have to add 4,839 new units into our city. So we had a lively discussion. We heard from our residents. The thing that's key to remember is if we don't have an approved housing element, there's several things the state can do to us. First is we would lose eligibility for major state funding for affordable housing projects. Next, we would lose local control of our zoning. So right now, we're not happy with a lot of what we have to do, but to lose complete control, it's called builder's remedy. It would allow developers and builders to come into our city and basically within certain parameters build whatever they wanted without any approval from the city. We've seen our neighboring cities like the city of Orange, and there's at least a dozen in Southern California that have had projects approved by the state in their city without approval from the local planning commission and the local city council. Next, the city or the state can impose fines on us up to $600,000 per month, and there's going to be a lot of legal action if we don't have a certified housing element. Currently we do, and again, what we're working on and what we approved at the last city council meeting was changing the zoning for the last few properties that needed to be done. So the majority of city council did approve that. Councilmember Constantine had to recuse herself from that vote. So with that, the housing element will be coming forth at the next city council meeting for a second reading. Next, we had public safety and life-saving equipment upgrades. So first is we purchased 4 what they call Lucas 3 automatic chest compression devices. We spent $110,000 for this, and we will have a chest compression device on each of our fire engines. We have 4 of those that we're going to have, and if it saves a life, that's really important, and it's a requirement that we have those. Next, we appointed an interim police chief. We want to welcome Rodney Cox. He is going to bring strong leadership to our police department and will maintain that position until we hire a full-time police chief. Next, we appointed Bill McQuaid as the interim fire chief. Now, you may be saying to yourself, isn't he the fire chief now? And yes, he is, but he is retiring. But instead of going into full retirement and kind of leaving us without a fire chief right now. He's going to work as an interim fire chief, so we really appreciate him doing that. The last item on the agenda was the 2025 Planning Commission appointments. So every year we interview and appoint new planning commissioners. So we want to congratulate and thank Cheryl Brothers and Rudy Hubner as the full-time planning commissioner, and Kristen Asgona, who is the alternate planning commissioner. So thank you guys for your dedication to our community. All right, so that was our last city council meeting. Let's talk about what's coming up at our next city council meeting on Tuesday, February the 4th. First, we're going to have a study session on the Orange County Power Authority. That's going to start at 5:15. You're welcome to come, participate, fill out a blue card, and let us know what you think. But I would like to first thank my fellow council members for unanimously appointing me as the city's representative on the OCPA Board of Directors. OCPA is going to provide you with choice against or in addition to your current provider, Southern California Edison. What this is going to do is allow you to have the choice of 3 different rates of renewable energy. If you do absolutely nothing, you will continue to get your bills from Southern California Edison, but what you will have is save 3% on the generation portion of your bill. So we're guaranteed to save at least 3% on the generation portion of the bill. Or if you'd like to pay a little bit more, you could get higher levels of renewable energy all the way up to 100%. Right now, it's 1.5 cents per kilowatt hour to have renewable energy. Somewhere on the average about $5 per month. I like having choice. I think our residents are smart enough to make choices for themselves, and you could either go to OCPA or at the basic rate, that's where everyone's going to be put in, including our businesses, or if you choose not to, you within, I believe it's 60 days prior to it going into effect, which won't be till the fall of 2026, you can opt out, pay a little bit extra and stay with Southern California Edison, or you can pay a little bit extra and get 100% renewable energy of OCPA. It's all about giving you choice. As I mentioned earlier, at the last City Council meeting, we had the public hearing on our housing element and a code amendment for the 3 properties that we need to make sure we do the code change for in order to stay in compliance with our housing element. And there'll be a second reading of that. So when we have a public hearing, we have to then have a second reading in the subsequent council meeting. So we'll have that as well. Next, we're going to have a replacement of our aging fire engine. So we have a fire engine that was purchased back in 2001. We allow for a 15-year front life service cycle and an additional 10 years of reserve status. So we're at that 25-year period, and we are going to spend $1.2 million to replace our fire engine. One thing that is good news is the Air Quality Management District is going to provide a Carl Moyer grant of $187,000 towards that cost. It's important that we have the best equipment to make sure that we keep our residents and our firefighters safe. The next item on the agenda is the mid-year budget review. So it's important that we ensure fiscal responsibility within our city. So every 6 months, we do a mid-year budget review, and we do a comprehensive analysis of all the estimated revenues and expenditures through the first 6 months of the year. So it's important because we need to make sure that if there are revenue changes or expenditure changes, that we know about it as quickly as possible and make sure that we make those changes necessary. It's also important that we do this for full transparency and to hold the city accountable for our financial future. And then the last item is we're going to have appointments to city council committees. So at the last meeting, I mentioned we did the Planning Commission. At this meeting, we're going to appoint people to the Fountain Valley Community Foundation, the Housing and Community Development Committee, and the Measure HH Oversight Committee. So we appreciate our volunteers who step up and take active roles within our city. So, all right, well, that's this week's message. I hope you find this informative. Feel free to reply back and let me know if there's something else you'd like to hear in the future. And that's it for now. We'll see you Tuesday night. Take care, everyone.